Hi, I'm Andrew, an entrepreneur and a computer science student,
Hi, I'm Verene, a psychology major student.
and you're now listening to the Ink Thoughts podcast, where we ponder and talk about incongruous thoughts ranging from our daily life to the human mind.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Ink Thoughts podcast. I know it's been a while since I last uploaded an episode, but yeah, I'm back now. So today I'm going to talk about self-talk. Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys have any experience in terms of self-talk, but I guess most of us might have. So we all agree that language is a very powerful tool. But what's even powerful is that when we are using it on ourselves. Have you ever noticed yourself talking to yourself either in your mind, on paper, or speaking out loud? I bet most of us had that experience, right? Now, take a minute to recall what had you been talking to yourself back then, and how does that make you feel? So today I'm going to talk about it. And so self-talk is actually a common thing that all of us do. You might be afraid that you would be judged if you speak it out loud, but a lot of people actually do that. And self talk could have a very powerful effect on this, both positively and negatively, depending on how we are using it or doing it. I remember there was a period of time I tried self talking in a positive way because I wasn't feeling quite good that time. I just felt like I wanted to encourage myself to get through whatever I was in that time. Surprisingly, it works well. I felt a lot more confident even when I'm not actively talking to myself that time. After trying self talk for probably a few days. It is somehow similar to keep telling your subconscious that you are confident, you're strong, you can do it, and your subconscious start to believe it. And let your subconscious do the work afterwards. It will lead you to where you want to be. But of course, don't daydream that you can achieve whatsoever without you putting in any effort. Self talk is amazing, but it isn't a magic. You need to put in your effort to do something to lead you to your dream. However, before we engage in positive self talk, we have to first identify the negative self talk that we have been doing all this while. Why is negative self talk so detrimental then? Negative self talk often happens when someone has less confidence in themselves or they generally just don't believe that they could achieve something. Then they tend to tell themselves that they couldn't do it. And because of that, they are generally less motivated to put in effort into doing something. I mean, you know, right? That like you already expect that you're not going to achieve it. And why are you putting in so much effort then? Then this will result in higher possibility of not achieving your target. And at this point of time, you wouldn't believe that, yeah, I knew I could not do it. And you start believing even stronger in this idea. This then end up to you always believing that you couldn't do something, no matter how less challenging it could be. Slowly, it becomes a vicious cycle that keeps on happening. However, if you break it down and look at it, you actually could have the opportunity to achieve it. If you keep encouraging yourself along the way, although it is hard, you are more willing to give it a try. And sometimes after you try out something, you might notice that it is actually not as hard as you have imagined it to be. Since you feel that you're a lot nearer to achieving your target, you might now feel more motivated to put in more effort to get nearer to your goals. Slowly, you achieve more than you thought you could, and that could become a positive cycle to always encourage you to do more, and you feel good about yourself too. For me, I recently came across this idea of manifestation. Although there are a lot of other factors and important points to consider while you manifest, one particular thing that I found interesting and somehow similar to using positive self talk is affirmation. You keep repeating your words of affirmation to yourself that could slowly lead your subconscious to believe in it. Well, on a side note, I'm still a newbie to the idea of manifestation. If I understood it incorrectly, feel free to correct me, and I would love to hear more from you too. And so this idea of affirmation, I think, is actually quite similar to doing positive self-talk. Never underestimate the power of language. The more positive you are, you feel a lot better in general. Why? Because it gives you the power of believing in yourself. No matter how difficult something is to you, but because it matters so much to you, you will be able to believe in it and believing that you could do it. That makes me reflect on my own experiences with self-talk. Like I said earlier, like there was a period of time where I was going through quite a lot. So basically, everything just wasn't at its right place. My career, relationship, health, and my mental well-being too. So I wasn't really sure what to do during that moment of time too. However, one thing that I knew was I was already feeling very shitty enough. I didn't want anything more negative. Therefore, I remember whenever I had a minute or two to daydream a bit, I kept telling myself that I'm a confident person, I can do lots of stuff, I can manage a lot of different things. And so, you know what? Slowly and magically, after several times of telling myself this way, I felt like I started behaving as in I'm really quite confident in myself, which to me was amazing. I used to doubt myself so much but with the power of language and positive self-talk now, I started to believe in myself. And because of that, I tend to do more, and I felt that I wasn't that afraid of failure or afraid of how others are going to see me during these moments. I guess it is when you really think in a certain way, when things come even more naturally to you, slowly as you progress to really believing in it. Of course, you might now doubt, what if we are just blindly lying to ourselves? Well, I did consider that possibility too, but I think when you truly believe in something, you will act differently too. Yeah, it affects you from not only your thoughts but also your behaviors. But another thing, first thing first, you have to be aware that you're not just saying things for the sake of saying it. You have to really mean it. If yes, then I guess it should be fine because perhaps there could be another way of evaluating this, which is when you're aware of what you're doing or thinking, try to look for some evidence in your behaviors or thoughts when you're trying to reflect on what you do. When you're doing it analytically without being affected by emotions, you could actually say things differently. And by this point, you should be able to know whether or not that you're just blindly lying to yourself. Therefore, I believe that if we could incorporate positive self-talk into our lives, we could actually boost our self-esteem and leading us to achieve more in our lives too. Although it is normal that at times we might get affected by low or negative energy because life is full of up and downs. You know what's the most important thing here? Our resilience. And it can actually be trained too. As long as we are aware of the negative feelings that we are going through, just give ourselves some time to process it. Then resiliently coming back to encouraging ourselves with positive self-talk again. By that, I don't mean to disregard your negative emotions or feelings. Instead, embrace them. Give yourself the time and space to accept it and process it. It is alright to have some negative feelings or emotions sometimes. After you think you're feeling better, then we could restart our positive self-talk work again to encourage us during these difficult moments. I guess that's it from me today. I wonder if any of you have ever tried using positive self-talk and what are your experiences with it. Feel free to share it with me in the comments down below, and I can't wait to hear from you guys. See you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed, do share with your friends and family and leave us a review on the Apple Podcast. If you are not using an Apple device, you can leave a review on the Apple Podcast website with a link in the show notes. If you have any feedback or thoughts which you hope that we'll discuss in the future, feel free to email them to us at hello@incthoughts.com, or alternatively, you can send us a private message on our Facebook, Instagram or Twitter with the username of incthoughtspod. Thanks again, and see you all next week. Bye bye.